Scrappy friends, and welcome back to my channel. Today I am working on a project for Cocoa Vanilla. Cocoa Vanilla is one of my favorite design teams. It's one of my favorite brands. I love Zoe and her designs so much. And my assignment for my first layout in January was either a vacation or a holiday. So I'm making a layout with, Minnie, you can't do that. Oh my God, this cat. I'm making a layout documenting a picture from the Disneymoon. Joshua and I actually honeymooned at Disney World. So I have this giant cut file from Paige Evans. I've already cut out my backing papers, and that is all I have. I have no idea how this layout's gonna go. Past that, I don't have any real plans. I have all of my embellishments from the Unforgettable line. So I'm just going to stop talking, start working. I just wanted to give you guys a brief intro into what I'm doing. And then I will put this on fast forward and voice over the rest of the process. So if you like this, please like, comment, and subscribe. Keep watching to the end to see how the layout came out, and I will see you guys at the end. Okay, gonna get working now. Hi crafty friends. So let's switch gears and get to work on this page. So what I started doing was I started just backing the L, and like I showed you in my intro, our fun dash, these are just some paints from Target, and I used that to add some fun to the background. These paints are a really easy way to add mixed media supplies to your stash. Acrylic paints in general are a great resource to have on hand if you're interested in trying mixed media, but you're not sure if that's going to be something that you're going to do, because like distress oxides and things like that are a bit of an investment. But acrylic paints you can literally get for like $1 at Michael's or at Walmart or at Target. Like I said, the paints that I use are at Target. So I will tell you the names. I use Robin's Egg, Creamsicle, Coral, and Cherry Blossom. And I just use an old gift card from Target to apply some paint swipes to the background. Like nothing technically difficult or hard to recreate. I literally just threw some paint. First of all, I struggled with getting the paint out those tiny jars, being perfectly upfront. At first I tried to use a paintbrush to get paint out the jar, but I ended up wasting so much paint that way, so I just like shook the bottle and shook it until some paint came out onto the paint card, and then I just swiped it on the background. A really easy way to add some color and some interest. Doesn't require a lot of supplies. Like I'm sure everybody has an old gift card or an old credit card lying around, and that's literally all you need to be able to do a technique like this. Drop the paint on your card, swipe it, add it to the background, and keep it going. Super simple. And I chose colors that appeared in the Unforgettable collection, which is why I use that like teal color, and why I use pink, and why I use like turquoise. Teal and turquoise are the same color. Why I used coral and that light orange, because those are all colors that appeared in that floral paper that I used to back my E. So that you saw, that's the color, that's the paper that I used to pick my paint palette, because I thought it best represented the color palette of the line. And I left all the footage in so you could see like how you do something like this. But again, live time, this whole thing probably took me like 5 minutes to drop the paint, swipe it on the background, and go. And you could do this with one color. You could do this to the whole background. I've seen people do this with like gesso to also prep the page for mixed media, but also to like mute out some of the background. Really fun, really easy technique to add color to your background if you're starting with mixed media. I love adding mess to my pages. Like I use water mediums a lot, but I also didn't want to deal with warping of the paper. My paper still warped, but nowhere near as much as it would have warped if I had used more of a wet medium. And acrylic paints also dry super fast, which was the other reason I went with this, because I wanted to get this page done, and I didn't want to put like modeling paste or a bunch of stuff on the page and then have to come back like a day later to finish the layout. So after I added all the paint to my background, I went ahead and finished backing my cut file, and through the magic of editing, you don't have to watch me do that. But I just continued backing the cut file the same way I backed the L and everything else. I'm using Scotch Quick Dry Glue in my fine line bottle. It is my favorite wet adhesive unless I'm playing with glitter paper. It dries super fast, dries clear, has yet to fail me. And I like it in the fine line bottle because I like having the fine tip so I'm not dropping glue everywhere. And the good thing about having a cut file, wow, sorry in advance for the amount of dance breaks I take in this. When I do voiceover style videos, I tend to put on music while I'm scrapbooking, and I don't know what, I think I was listening to like the Black Eyed Peas while I was doing this, so there's a lot of dance breaks. But the good thing about working on a cut file this size when I'm playing with mixed media is I can actually make the layout on the cut file while my background is drying. So there was no like downtime while I was waiting for everything to come together. I literally just kept working, and then when I was finished, I was able to just put everything on my background and keep going. So I like to have a lot of photo mats when I'm making a 12 by 12 layout. I think it helps the picture stand out on the background. So what you saw me do is pull out a bunch of papers from my stash of the Unforgettable collection. The good thing about scrapbooking in collection is everything matches. You don't have to like stop and think about what goes and what colors go. Everything matches because the designer did all the work for you, and literally all you have to do is show up and make something. And that is such a relief because you don't have like, okay, I'm gonna be perfectly honest, I don't have the greatest idea for like the greatest eye for mixing patterns. Like if everything's pink, I can do it, but when I try to like mix pink and other colors, I don't have the greatest eye for mixing patterns. So it's really easy. I prefer scrapbooking in collections. Like outside of design team work, like Maggie Holmes is my favorite. I just buy the whole collection, and that way when I'm ready to make a layout, everything matches. So if you're starting and you can get collections, like that's 100% the way to go, because then it takes all the guesswork and a lot of the frustration of making layouts when everything is just a cohesive unit and it goes together. So the other thing you can do is if you want to start scrapbooking and you don't have collections, is start with neutrals. Like get some, if you have a favorite color, my favorite color is green, which doesn't pop up in my scrapbooking as much as it should. But if you have a favorite color, get some things in your favorite color and then work with neutrals and work that in. There's also like monochromatic layouts are also a really big trend, and mixing the same color in different shades and different textures is also a really easy way to add interest to your pages without like breaking the bank to start a huge hoard. I've been scrapbooking for going on 5 years now, so I've amassed a fair amount of stuff over time, but I remember what it was like starting the hobby when you had nothing. And I literally just bought a bunch of pink things because pink, still to this day, pink shows up in my scrapbooking way too often. But I remember just going out and getting a bunch of things that were the same color and then getting gold and adding from there. And that's a tip I give you if you're new and you're trying to figure out how to start, you know, where to start, what supplies you need. So now I'm just going to go ahead and embellish this to infinity and beyond. Tashiana is very much a more is more scrapbooker. Like the more things I can get on a page, the better. That's my point of view when it comes to embellishing. And I'm gonna be perfectly honest, the Unforgettable line is so pretty, and florals are my favorite thing, like literally favorite thing ever to include on a scrapbook layout. And the florals in the Unforgettable collection are they're just delicious. So while you're watching me work, because literally all I'm doing is grabbing a million die cuts and ephemera pieces and sticking it down to the page, I'll talk to you a little bit about what I'm documenting. So like I said in my intro, Joshua and I honeymooned at Disney World. Disney World is the best place in the world. It is obviously the happiest place on earth. So it lives up to its name, and we decided we were going to honeymoon at Disney World. It's just something we did, and we had the best time. And so I'm actually working on, I call it the Disneymoon. So if you hear me bring up the Disneymoon a few times, that's just what I call it. I'm sure that I was not the first person to come up with the Disneymoon, because people honeymoon at Disney World all the time, and I'm not that clever. Like, I'm pretty clever, you guys, but I'm not that clever. So I'm sure someone else has come up with the phrase, the Disneymoon. But I have a whole album, and I'm steadily adding pages to it when I don't have any other like looming projects. So like in between working on like December Daily and working on like Project Life Spreads, I like to add a page to the Disneymoon album every now and then. And this picture is at the Magic Kingdom, and my husband, who is a saint, if this is your first time here and you haven't heard me babble about how much I love that man and how good he is, I wanted to wear matching bride and groom Mickey Mouse ears when we went to the Magic Kingdom. I had a different pair of Minnie Mouse ears every day while we were in Disney World because it was honeymoon life, and you know, YOLO, you only live once, so you might as well live it up. So I had a different pair of Minnie Mouse ears every day. And when we went to the Magic Kingdom, I wore the bride ones and he wore the groom ones, and he is so good, you guys. He's so good. And so there are so many pictures of us in these like silly ears, and I actually took this picture while we were on the teacup ride, spinning in circles. So I'm surprised it came out as good as it did. But because we were spinning in circles, it was kind of blurry and kind of grainy, so I printed it in black and white, but we're both making really silly faces, which is par for the course for the two of us, and it was the perfect photo for this. And I love this cut file because it says love, but instead of the O, it has the Mickey Mouse ear, so it's like perfect for documenting Disney World. So back to the process. I've done a few things while I was babbling to you about Disney World and the crazy man I married. I use my powder tool all the time. Powder tools are great for taking off stickiness off a background. So if you like to use so here's the thing. I love cardstock stickers. They're like one of my favorite embellishments. I have commitment issues. I don't like committing to things before I am good and ready. I like to be able to test things out and move things around before I finally stick things down. So that's where the powder tool has like saved my life on multiple occasions, because all I do is I pounce the powder tool on the back of the cardstock sticker. It literally takes the stickiness away, and then that sticker can now be used the same way any die cut can be used, where you can move it around and test it and see where you like it. Because I really wanted to use that sticker that said photo stories, because it had all the colors, like the coral and the orange and the pink and the teal. It had all the colors that were in my background on my white paper that I did the paint through. So I really wanted to make sure that I could find a way to integrate that sticker. So it was a cardstock sticker. I literally just used the powder tool to take the stickiness off, and it worked out perfectly, and it ended up on the left side of my photo. A little bit more about my design. I used some foam stickers because I wanted to put a tag with some journaling behind my photo. So I used some foam tape to kind of prop up my photo, and that's why you saw me sticking the embellishments down to the cut file and not to my photo, because the photo was going to be the last thing that went on, so that I could stick the photo to the background and then make sure that there was enough space so that my photo was raised off so that my tag could fit behind it. Like, I hope that makes sense. You'll see when I put the whole thing together. I also like having things at different layers and different heights. So I used some flare, I used some like fun foam on the top side of my layout. I added a bunch of butterflies and a bunch of florals. Again, favorite embellishment to use up on 12 by 12s. Had another dancing break because there are tons of those. And I literally just kept building and building and building until I was happy with it. When I make, like I said, when I make 12 by 12 layouts, if I could put all the embellishments all the time, like I 100% would. I like so there are people who are like cleaner scrapbookers, and when I'm doing things that are like in mini albums or like in like the page protector, then I'm very much a more, I mean, I don't know if I could say I'm a clean scrapbooker, because you guys have seen my December daily albums. That is not true. But when it comes to 12 by 12s, I am 100% putting everything on the page all the time, if you couldn't tell by this layout. If this is your first time here, you guys, hello and welcome. My name's Tashiana. This is Precisely Tashi. Welcome. But yes, so I like to put all the things all the time. And after I wrote out my tag, I added a little bit of teal ribbon so that it comes out from behind the photo. And then I just went ahead and stuck the whole thing down to my cardstock. Literally, the time it took me to put this together, my cardstock had finished drying. It warped the tiniest bit. But my cardstock had finished drying, and I didn't have to like blast it with my heat tool, because that, I find that when you have to heat paper, it tends to aggravate the warping more than it's already happened, and I really didn't want to have to do that. And then I attached everything to the background with the wet glue versus the tape runner. I found that when you're sticking things down to any sort of background that has mixed media, whether it's wet mediums or acrylic paint or anything, things just work better if you use a wet glue versus using a tape runner. So I just like to use glue to stick things down. And then the only thing I did was add my title, and I added some enamel dots. So the title I grabbed from the foam stickers. I just went with the best because he's the best, this honeymoon was the best, this day was the best. It was just the perfect title. And then I added some enamel dots to the top left and the bottom right. I love enamel dots. They're like sprinkles. You just sprinkle them everywhere, and they're like the perfect accent. And that pretty much completes the layout. So I'm going to stop babbling before I run out of time. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, and please like, comment. Liking and giving me a thumbs up are the same thing. Please give me a thumbs up, and please consider commenting and subscribing. I have lots and lots of plans. I have my 2020 chit chat if you want to see what I was up to and what my plans are for this year. So I'd appreciate it if you come back and hang around and join the Precisely Tashi fam. And I'll link Cocoa Vanilla and the blog post in the description box if you want to go see some close-up photos and see like the products that I used to make this page. And that is all I have for you today. I'm going to finally start putting an end card at the end of my video, so if you want to keep watching, you can. And until next time, keep it crafty, friends, and have the best day, and I will see you on the flip side in another process video. Till then, bye!